Hello, good afternoon and welcome to BBC Newsline. The mother of a survivor of child sex abuse has said her son's abuser should never be allowed out of jail. 21-year-old Stephen Lee McIlvenny was jailed for 23 years last month for the rape, blackmail and abuse of three teenage boys. McIlvenny was described in court as a callous and dangerous paedophile. His victim's mother says her son has been left with profound trauma from the abuse. Kelly Bonner has the story.
Michelle's son was 14 when he met this man, Stephen Lee McIlvenny. McIlvenny was 18.
He just sort of was completely acted out of character. He started being very cheeky, very angry, which he was never angry. He was a very soft-natured wee boy. And me and him got on absolutely brilliant. He wouldn't answer me back. And then all of a sudden it was just a complete change. Change that it actually frightened me, because it made me feel like I was losing him. That's exactly what I felt.
By the time her son had turned 15, the abuse had already begun.
He raped my son, he groomed my son, he beat my son, he took their virginity off them, you know. The things he done to my son was absolutely horrendous. When I had to listen to in that court, I actually had to run out of it. I couldn't listen to it. It was that bad.
Over the next 2 years, McIlvenny blackmailed, raped and beat her son so hard he caused a bleed to his brain. A passer-by stopped to help.
If they hadn't jumped out, he would be dead, I think. And I think that was his intention, because it was going to come out. He tried to end my son's life.
Michelle said her son has suffered profound physical and emotional trauma as a result of McIlvenny's abuse. Kelly Bonner, BBC Newsline in Belfast.
Exports of pharmaceuticals and chemicals from Ireland to the US could fall by 50% as a result of tariffs being planned by President Trump. That was the warning the Republic's foreign minister gave to his colleagues this morning. Tariffs are taxes on imports. President Trump says he'll apply heavy tariffs to reduce imports and boost American manufacturing. That poses a major challenge to the Republic, which sold more than £60 billion worth of goods to the US last year. Here's our Dublin reporter, Kevin Sharkey.
The ports of Ireland may in time feel the force of any US tariffs. For now, it's a waiting game, here and at export businesses around the country. Like Combi-Lift in County Monaghan, more than 800 people work at this forklift manufacturing company.
The US is one of our largest export markets, and we've actually invested quite heavily in the US. The US accounts for more than a quarter of our business, so it's an important segment for Combi-Lift.
Ireland is waiting anxiously and with real concern about the tariffs, especially in relation to the pharmaceutical industry, and with good reason, because of the history and the economic benefits of US pharmaceutical companies in the country in recent decades.
The Republic is the single biggest exporter of pharmaceuticals to the United States. Now, with a population just over 5 million, that makes it a bigger exporter than even the likes of traditional powerhouses like Germany and Switzerland in the pharmaceutical industry. So we can see by that fact alone how big the relationship in pharmaceuticals is between Ireland and the United States.
So how bad do you think it could get?
So there are some comparisons with 2008. Then there was a financial crisis. It was immediate. It was like the wind blew the roof off the house. In this case, it's more like a more gradual erosion of the foundations, which obviously is very important for any structure.
The impending announcement comes amid repeated US warnings in recent weeks about US companies based in Ireland. A testing time for the country as it awaits to find out what the announcement will look like when it finally arrives from the other side of the ocean. Kevin Sharkey, BBC Newsline in Dublin.
So Kevin focusing on the Republic there, but will Northern Ireland businesses face tariffs too? John Campbell, our business and economics editor, is here with us. So John, are businesses on this side of the border facing tariffs?
They will be. We heard that from the UK Business Secretary this morning. Essentially, he had been trying to negotiate with the US to get some sort of special deal or exemption for the UK. That has not worked for now, so he's pretty clear that UK goods will be facing tariffs. And remember, when Northern Ireland businesses are selling outside of the EU, they're just treated like any other UK goods, so they will face tariffs. But the Secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, he says he still hopes that somewhere down the line there can be some exemptions for UK goods.
We understand from the US, it appears tomorrow there'll be no country in the world exempt from the initial announcements, but then there'll be the potential to reach agreement with the US on a better way forward. I believe the work that we have done, which I would want, ideally, to be frank, to have been able to exempt us from this moment. I think that our trading relationship is a very strong and fair and balanced one, so I don't believe there's the need to do this.
So, John, how much does Northern Ireland sell to the US?
By comparison with the Republic, not that much. The most recent figures suggest it's just under £1.5 billion a year. That's heavily concentrated in certain sectors, most notably pharmaceuticals, industrial machinery and food and drink.
And what will the impact be then on imports from the US?
That is all going to depend actually on what the EU does, because if the EU imposes tariffs on US goods, that means those tariffs will have to apply on US goods coming into Northern Ireland. That is due to the operation of the Windsor Framework, our special post-Brexit deal. So you could potentially have a situation where US goods entering Northern Ireland face a tariff, but the same US goods, when they enter the rest of the UK, they don't face a tariff.
OK, John, for now, thank you very much indeed. John Campbell there. Up to 170,000 of the lowest paid workers in Northern Ireland will receive a pay rise as the new national living wage and national minimum wage rates take effect from today. Business owners have been expressing concern about the funding increase. The Secretary of State, Hilary Benn, said employers had been taken into account when the decision was made.
Well, we always ask the Low Pay Commission in making their recommendations about the minimum wage and the living wage to take account of its affordability. That's why we set up the system in that way. Look, we're living in challenging times. In the meantime, what we're doing today is giving a real increase in pay to lots of low-paid workers.
Now, a look ahead now to one of the stories on tonight's programme. Two Olympic athletes, Daniel Whiffen and Philip Doyle, have formed a friendship, and the swimmer has been trying his hand at rowing.
Not liking swimming that much lately, so I was like, do you know what? Let's take up rowing for LA and we'll be in a boat together. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting one how this came about, to be honest. I think Daniel wanted to criticise my swimming and it was easy to criticise.
Yeah, fair play to Daniel Whiffen. There's more on that story tonight at 6:30 on BBC One and BBC iPlayer. Now, the past couple of days have been really nice, actually, weather-wise. What does the rest of the week have in store? Cecilia Daly can tell us. Hi, Cecilia.
Hello, Rick. Hi, everybody. Well, yes, indeed. No complaints on the weather story at the moment. Yesterday, of course, was the warmest day of the year so far. Temperatures were over 18 degrees at Castledarg in the west. And so far today, there's been quite a lot of sunshine around. It was a bit of a chilly start, but there is some cloud feeding up from the southeast, and you can clearly see that on the satellite picture. And because we have a southeasterly breeze around our area of high pressure, that means over the next few days, it will continue to be a little bit cooler at the east coast with the highest temperatures in the west. So although today we aren't expecting temperatures to be just as high, it's likely that somewhere in Tyrone, for example, could well see temperatures up to 17 degrees, whereas on the beach itself at the east coast, we're probably looking at 11 or 12 degrees. Now, it continues dry tonight, mostly clear skies. The breeze should keep any mist and fog away, but it could still locally get quite chilly in parts of the west, with temperatures maybe dropping to 1 or 2 degrees. So if, like me, you're an early bird, it'll be chilly first thing tomorrow, but we are expecting a lovely day with lots of blue sky and sunshine, probably cloud-free in quite a few places too. Still that breeze coming in off the chilly sea at the east, with temperatures once again highest in the west, up to 15, maybe 16 degrees. Now, on Thursday, we could well challenge temperatures again, possibly beating our high yesterday, especially in the west, maybe 17, 18 degrees, although there will be the risk of a few showers across some southern counties. But for Northern Ireland, it's very much a dry story as we head through further into the new month of April. Lots of sunshine around, a little bit cooler at the weekend, but still very nice in the sun.
Cecilia, thank you very much indeed. We'll be back at 6:30 here on BBC One. BBC Radio Ulster and the BBC News NI website will keep you up to date. Until then, for now, we'll hand you back to our colleagues in Salford. See you soon. Bye-bye.